Hello and welcome to Covenant to Life in the Homeward Bound series. I'm Lloyd Willard.
I'm Roxy Quam.
I'm Tom Winchester.
Welcome again to all of you who joined together today to consider the study, the covenant of Yahuwah toward man. We all share the ability to draw breath together on a day that our Creator Yahuwah has made. May He be praised. Before we begin, let's consider for a few moments the words of the psalmist King David in the opening 4 verses of Psalm 8. O Yahuwah, our sovereign, how excellent is your name in all the earth. Who have set your glory upon the heavens? Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings have you established strength, because of your adversaries, that you might still the enemies and the avenger. When I consider your heavens and the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have ordained, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visit him? Did you ever have this thought? When I consider your heavens and your vast creation and think about who you are, what is man? Who am I that you're mindful of me? During Abram's spiritual journey, Yahuwah told him to look toward the innumerable stars and that his offspring would be as difficult to count as they are. 13 generations and approximately 900 years later, this song would be written by a distant grandson of Abram, a shepherd boy made king of Israel, David. Through the lens of history, we can observe that Abram could only believe and look forward to this. Yahuwah kept his commitment in a grand way. What our Creator sets out to do, He will do. It can absolutely be depended on. Isn't that great? Now, let's continue our study.
At the end of part 1, you were told that the 13th and 14th chapters of Genesis could be described in 4 ways. First, family loyalty. Second, trouble in paradise. Third, obedience. And fourth, the mystery of righteousness. In this chapter, we will see the first introduction to an important fact and an important event. Now, there is a lot in the 13th and 14th chapters. We will skip through them rather quickly since there is no direct reference to the subject of covenant. These chapters are well worth the time to read through, though, and I'd encourage everyone to do so to understand the entire context. We'll focus our study on just a few critical events on Abram's spiritual journey, beginning with Genesis 13, verse 8.
And Abram said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray you, between me and you, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brethren. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself, I pray you, from me. If you will take the left hand, then I will go to the right, or if you take the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the plain of the Jordan, and it was well watered everywhere, before Yahuwah destroyed Sodom and Amorah, like the garden of Yahuwah in the land of Egypt. As you go unto Saar, so Lot chose him all the plain of the Jordan. And Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves as one from the other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners against Yahuwah exceedingly.
Here we see at the urging of Abram, he and his nephew come to a friendly agreement. Abram gave Lot a choice of direction and said he'd take the other. You go north, I'll go south. You go east, I'll go west. Lot chose a beautiful, well-watered land and headed east toward the plains of the Jordan River. Lot chose to live in the cities and moved his tents as far as Sodom.
And Yahuwah makes the following statement. All the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners against Yahuwah exceedingly.
Did I hear a few sighs? Yep. The stage is set for trouble for both Lot and Sodom. And it will come in two waves. It appears that Lot began his journey looking at a land of paradise, but soon we will see that instead he found trouble. Next, we will see that Yahuwah continues to instruct Abram. Verse 14. And Yahuwah said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now your eyes, and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, to you will I give it, and to your seed forever. And I will make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can count the dust of the earth, then may your seed also be numbered. Verse 17. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, in the width of it, for unto you will I give it. And Abram moved his tent, and came and dwelt by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built there an altar to Yahuwah. At the close of chapter 13, again we see that Yahuwah is continuing to guide Abram along, and Abram continues to respond in obedience. The benefits to Abram's offspring has now been expanded to include a vast area of land, with the duration stated as forever. This area would include lands from the Euphrates all the way to the Nile River in Egypt.
Chapter 14 is the story of a war with the kings of Shinar, Elasar, Alam, Goyim, against the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, and Beleh. 9 kings total, 4 against 5. To shorten the story, we'll highlight the outcome. In chapter 14, we are told what happens to Lot.
Let's start in verse 12. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew. Now he dwelt by the oaks of Mamre at this time, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner. And these were confederate with Abram. Verse 14 then continues, and when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he led forth his trained men, born in his house, 318, and pursued as far as Dan. And he divided himself against them by night, and he his servants, and attacked them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his brother Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the people.
Quite an adventure. Abram's loyalty towards his nephew is very clearly illustrated here. This will lead us through him to one of the most mysterious passages in all of Scripture. Abram appears to be met by 2 kings, the king of Sodom and the king of Shalom. Let's read Genesis chapter 14, verses 17 through 20.
Verse 17. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Kedorlaomer, and the kings that were with him at the vale of Shavah, the same is the king's vale. And Melchizedek, king of Shalom, brought forth bread and wine, and he was priest of El Elyon. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of El Elyon, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be El Elyon, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him 1/10 of all. Who is the second king referred to as Melchizedek? Why did he meet Abram and offer elements that are symbolic of covenants? Why did Abram give him 10% of his possessions? At first we might say, well, his name is Melchizedek. But it is quite possible that his name is never given. The words Melchizedek in the Hebrew language appear to be a title, meaning King my righteousness or King of righteousness. The word written shalom in Hebrew is pronounced shalom and means peace or peaceful. This is believed to be the original name of Jerusalem or Israel. The pronunciation of that name in its Hebrew rendering is very close to Jerusalem. The name approximately means the flow of peace as well. So his position is King of righteousness, King of peace, or King of the peaceful.
In this brief encounter, we see a short introduction to a character that is only spoken of 6 more times in Scripture. The first in Psalm 110, and the remaining 5 in a single book, the New Testament book of Hebrews, chapters 5 through 7. This king apparently had neither a beginning nor an end. Rather served a priesthood that would extend beyond the earthly priesthood that Yahuwah would later develop. The 14th chapter ends as follows.
And the king of Sodom said unto Abram, Give me the persons, and take the goods to yourself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up my hand unto Yahuwah, El Elyon, possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread, nor a shoe latchet, nor anything that is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich. Save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men that went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion.
Wow. How do you sum this one up? I don't think we'll try here. What an amazing life this man is living as he obediently follows Yahuwah along step by step. We'll conclude part 2 of Abraham's life journey here. He has not yet formalized the covenant. He simply knows that one is coming, and he's walking obediently. In our next study, Abraham Covenant Part 3, the day arrives. Thank you for joining us. Shalom.
Shalom.